Welcome back to Talk of the Town, and for someone who is an avid home brewer, this is maybe my favorite segment of all time that we're going into, and definitely my favorite topic. We're talking beer, as we have Otto Dilba here from Ale Asylum. Welcome in, Otto.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, just give us, I guess, a brief history of Ale Asylum. How and when did it get started?
Well, we started in 2006. It was myself and the brewmaster, Dean Coffey, and a couple of other people, Chris Rippenberg, the head brewer, and an additional brewer, Brian Scope, who I believe you know.
I know Brian, yeah.
That we all started up in 2006 and did the build-out, the tear-down of the original location. And in 2012, we moved into our new location, which is located at 2002 Pancras Street, right by the airport. And from that point on, we began distributing across state lines. We're now available in Illinois and throughout the entire state of Wisconsin.
Oh, nice. I heard that the new building is the house that Hopheads built.
That's a good way to put it.
Is that, yeah?
Yeah, Hopheads is an American pale ale. It's our flagship, and it's about 60% of everything that we make.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that beer. I mean, for an
you.
IPA, yeah, I think it's well balanced. Nice floral character to it as well.
Yeah, I drink my body weight in that weekly.
Is that right?
Got to enjoy what you do.
Terrific. Yeah, you have to. You know, people love to. You got that. Hopalicious is year round, but seasonal beers. People love. You know, as the seasons change, the beers kind of change. What are some of the seasonal beers that you end up doing?
Well, we have a wide variety of seasonal beers that we produce. At any given time, we have 3 seasonals that are available on the market. Throughout the year, we have about 12 that come in and out of the market. We release 1 new seasonal every month. The most popular seasonals that we and the rest of the craft beer industry have are our India Pale Ales. It's the #1 category of beer. And currently we have one called Velveteen Habit, which has really taken off for us, but that goes away shortly, and it's going to get replaced by a beer called Haiku, which is 2 words, not 1. So you'll kind of have to figure out in the meantime what that exactly means. That'll be released on April 20th of this year.
Very cool. You mentioned, you know, so many, IPAs are popular now. When did everyone turn into such hopheads? How did that happen?
Well, just like every industry, craft beer trends come from the coasts. So the East Coast and West Coast of the United States, they've been hopheads for quite some time, 10, 15, even 20 years, depending on the location. So those trends have just come to the Midwest in the last, I'd say probably 10 years, where now it's now traveled into Wisconsin, getting into northern Wisconsin, where once you develop that taste for hops, it's so specific and unique that it's very difficult to go back if you enjoy it.
I love it, yeah.
But most people, they don't go from your macro beers, your Miller Coors and Buds, straight into an India Pale Ale. It takes some time to get used to that bitterness and that real hop punch that a lot of those IPAs have.
They got to warm up to it a little bit.
You really do. A lot of times you'll go into like a smoother, maltier beer and then graduate to something of an American Pale Ale or an India Pale Ale variety.
Okay. When it comes to your seasonals, what are the most popular ones? What's your top selling one?
Well, this top selling one is the one that we have out right now. It's called Velveteen Habit.
That is the top selling
one.
It
is. It's we released it last year for the first time. It's an India Pale Ale, about 7.5%. It uses Citra and Cascade hops, which are 2 of the more popular hop varieties out there. And as I mentioned, that'll be available for about another month, maybe a month and a half, and then that gets replaced. Probably right behind that is a seasonal that we have out in the summer months. I'm actually going to pause here. Give me a second here.
Yeah.
Trying to think of the second one.
Yeah, you got another one.
Yeah. Probably the next most popular one that we have was one that actually came its way into a year-round beer, which was Unshadowed, which was a Hefeweizen that you can now get year-round, which is nice because a lot of times Hefeweizens are only available in the summer months, but we have that one available year-round.
It also seems that you have kind of an influence from Belgian-style beers as well. Why do you like the Belgians so much? What is it about the Belgians?
Well, our brewmaster, Dean, has been an avid Belgian beer lover for his entire craft beer drinking life. Nobody really starts out young and is drinking craft beer.
Right.
And so he was just infatuated with some of the classics, your Chimays of the world. And so from that, he just developed his taste, then he developed a taste for brewing them, and he's been doing it ever since his days way back when, if anybody can remember, the Angelic Brewing Company days when he was the brewmaster downtown Madison.
I do remember Angelic, absolutely.
Yeah, that's right.
So anything else new and different on the horizon that we haven't heard of? You mentioned Haiku. Is there anything else?
Yeah, we've got a number of seasonals that are coming out this year that have never been out there before. Haiku, of course, that I mentioned, but also a Belgian Pale Ale, which is not a hoppy beer, called Rictus Grin. That comes out in May, and then we have an Oktoberfest that we're doing for the first time called Octillion. That comes out in August. And then at the end of the year, we do another IPA that's never been out before called Subculture, which is a bit of a nod to one of my favorite bands of all time, the Pixies. If you haven't heard the song, I suggest checking it out on YouTube.
Very cool. I could talk about it for a half hour, but unfortunately we're out of time. Thank you, Otto, for joining us.
Thanks again for having me.
Yeah, and thanks for watching Talk of the Town right here on CW57. We'll see you next time.